Just say what you need to say. Say what you need to say. Yeah. So I mean, all right. So I have a lot of I don't I. Let's look up. Let's look up. I did enjoy the movie. I did enjoy the movie. I don't get this part though. It was ranked in more than 120 film critics' top 10 lists of the best films of 2015 and was ranked 48th on the BBC's 2016 list of the 100 greatest films of the 21st century. This movie was listed as one of the 100 greatest films of the 21st century. And that's the part that I just isn't connecting with me at all. I thought and I've been trying to like figure out what's the difference between something like this and say something like the prize winner of Defiance, Ohio. There not a lot happened. Like I don't maybe. Let's just get it. Not as much happened as I would have liked. Like one of the major conflicts was her finally opening up some letters. She's back in Ireland and she finally starts opening up letters, and that's woo. And then like fighting like the old town lady, and the romance wasn't even like. This is a very, 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 very quaint movie, and I'm trying to figure out why. Because in general, I like movies that have very, very simple conclusions at the end that are impactful. And, she comes around and decides that that she doesn't belong in Ireland, and she goes back to New York. And that's the whole thing. She's from Ireland. She leaves her family back in the 50s, I believe. Let me double check really quick. Yeah, 1950s Ireland. She leaves 1950s Ireland to go back or to go over to live in America, Brooklyn, live out her dream, right? Yep. And she meets somebody there, falls in love, kind of gets a job going, starts building a life, etc., etc. Then her sister dies and she has to go back to Ireland. And she keeps getting pushed to stay there. And she meets another guy, and things kind of like keep snowballing from there. And the conclusion is just to go back to America, which is fine. Yeah, this just didn't have... Nothing really stood out to me, I suppose. Nothing about this, I thought, made it one of the best 100 films of the century. Like, the dialogue was fine. Everybody was distinct enough. But it's not like the two male leads were that charismatic. She's very wonderful. Right, but the romances themselves weren't like something that, like I'm blushing at, or it's not like Heath Ledger, right? When I watched 10 Things I Hate About You the other day, which I loved, and that movie had so much style to it. Oh my God, lies! Tony is literally perfect. He can barely talk. He was charming enough, right? Everything was charming enough. He was charming enough. The other guy was charming enough. The movie looks good enough, like a lot of it looked very, very biopic, Oscars kind of, but like y'all recommended 10 Things I Hate About. Have you seen 10 Things I Hate About You? Shit. Dang, you should have waited to do 10 Things for a stream. I'd been waiting. Yeah, Nick put it on. Cal put it on when we were on the cruise, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was trying to go to bed. And the movie was so good that I stayed up. I kept like rolling over, and something ridiculous would be being said, or like I was I loved 10 Things I Hate About You. Yeah, I loved that movie. It literally kept me up, and I was I tried to not pay attention to that movie, but I couldn't take my eyes away. And I think that's a pretty decent example of something that isn't like that crazy, but there's so much style to that movie. The writing is so sharp. And everybody is kind of weird. It's so good, no dispute there. But Brooklyn is just another kind of compelling. What was on your end though? What was like the most compelling parts about Brooklyn? What really stood out to you? Because I've been thinking about this as well. Like, this might just be a case of, if this movie, if you're connecting on every level of this movie, I could see it going really, really well for you. Like, I think of something like After Sun, which is another kind of quaint movie of just someone remembering their last vacation with their dad, and that one hit really, really hard for me. This one might not just have been made for me. Like I just there was a lot of talking at dinner. Like she was sitting there talking at dinner in Brooklyn with the house mom, and it was fine, right? She learns how to eat spaghetti. Sure, she's sad at work, and then she's not sad at work. This is definitely not a high drama movie, which again is fine. But something like 10 Things I Hate About You, or like especially The Prize Winner of Defiance of Ohio. Yeah, especially because you just believe her. Like everything she experiences is so real and raw and innocent to me. Like I just feel like I can't breathe when I watch it. Generally interesting is everything she experiences is so real and raw and innocent. I would definitely, I think those are all absolutely fair words to use there. I honestly cried literally really even even when she's on the boat shitting into the bucket in the hallway, you're crying during the shitting bucket scene. One thing that I guess really stood out to me though was the bravery that it took for her to leave, especially during this time. Like it was so much harder. It was so much harder. Because they at the very beginning of the movie, they really do a good job of setting up. She might literally never see her family again. It might never ever happen. She might never ever see him again, and she doesn't, or she doesn't see her sister passes away, right? So she doesn't ever get to see her sister again, and that part did do well for me. Absolutely. If you're looking, if this could be the movie. Is this the movie that inspired you to travel all across America? Is this the movie that is what's inspiring you to move from place to place to place? I just love that that is the conflict. Like it's not being pulled in different directions. Like that's why I'm trying to figure out why, because I generally like that too. I like smaller conflict movies, smaller scope movies. And I think when it comes down to it, it's just about style here. Yeah, I just didn't care for the style of the movie. The actual filmmaking itself seemed pretty easily to categorize as Oscar biopic bait. Bait is maybe not the fairest word. It just looked really. I don't think that there's going to be much difference in the ways that this was shot versus something like The Green Book was shot, and other things like that. You think everything is Oscar bait? Oh my! I can only think of one other example. And I guess to clarify what Oscar bait means, it's just biopic. Oh, whatever. Biopic about. Someone period biopic that is shot with like this kind of really sleek color scheme and doesn't take any risks visually or dramatically. It's not even a biopic. No, it's not. But it has that same kind of feel to it. It has that same kind of feel. It has that same kind of color to it. It has that same kind of slickness. I did anticipate that you wouldn't like the style. That's fair. Yeah, and it's not that I don't like the style. It's just that that's that's something that I would like. This movie, I enjoyed it. I had a good time watching this movie. I'm just trying to figure out why. When I like a lot of these things, generally like a lot of these things, why is it not working so much? Why didn't I love this movie, I suppose? Because I did enjoy it. I enjoyed everything enough. I just don't get the acclaim. And yeah, style would go a long way for me here. There's no point where any risk is taken visually, editing-wise, or I would say even script-wise. It's like the perfect script. or not even. it does the perfect thing where it goes perfectly into full circle where she's back on the boat at the beginning. Oh, how sweet and nice. And now she's the one mentoring the next Irish girl who's going off to America. Great. Oh my god though, SK, I felt really, really, really bad about this. Sorry. Well, I'll continue this thought. There are definitely times when I wanted the shot or the scene to be a little less cliche. Kind of about it. What? Oh my god. I was laughing at the end of this movie, and I felt really, really bad about this. When she's standing on one side of the street finally in New York, and he sees her, and she's doing like this monologue, and talking about something I literally can't remember what, which is why I feel a little bad. And he sees her, and he's going to run across the street, and he doesn't look both ways. And I was laughing because I was like, what if he just gets hit by a car right now? what if he just gets? What if this whole thing has been building up to him just getting annihilated by a car? And that thought kind of ruined it. That's so dumb. I know. Really, really, really dumb. But if that happened, I would have loved this movie. Then something would have actually shocked me. Yeah, nothing shocking here. I did enjoy. And I guess I was also kind of surprised that, because I feel like this movie would do kind of well with me too, even more so than it did. It's about someone who moved away from home to go to New York, and has hesitations about going home, and then when they finally do come home and things feel kind of different, and you're like, and you actually think about it a little bit, like, what if I moved back? What if I stayed here? What if I returned and didn't go back to New York? And like I was recently just in Florida 2 weeks ago, right? And I had very, very, very similar thoughts, except they lasted about 1 second. I specifically remember being in a car after hanging out with people, and I was like, and I had one thought where I was like, what if I moved back to Florida? And I almost vomited. I almost started throwing up everywhere. The thought made me instantly sick. Could never do it. Indiana, I love Indiana, and I love going home and seeing everybody. Wow, that is so me. Yeah, it just could never absolutely relate. That's why I thought that, or that's why I'm really surprised that maybe some of these ideas didn't land with me as strongly. Except that I'm living at home right now. How's that? Is that going okay? Hopefully that's going okay, because I relate with Florida. Yeah, Florida is really, really, really not it. I feel like it would be like 6,000 steps backwards or something. I really enjoyed her kind of getting. I really loved. I really enjoyed how she kept kind of getting pushed back into life in Ireland. How easily it is to just kind of get sucked back in, where they're like, oh, there's a wedding. It's just a week after your boat, so you need to cancel your boat trip and back to New York and go to this wedding for your best friend. It's just another week, right? But the boat trip is probably like another month after that wedding, and then they're like, oh, okay, well you should probably be making some money while you're just waiting around here. So here's a job, and then she does really well at the job, and I enjoyed how easily it was for you to get kind of sucked back in there. I think Saoirse takes it from a regular movie to a great movie for me. She is fantastic in this. Yeah, she does an excellent job. No complaints. That yeah, she sells every scene. Every scene, yeah. And she's a refreshing leading lady in my eyes. Like, she's not surprising or combative or risky. I'm so she moves to New York. Not risky. Sir Shah. My bad. Sir, thank you. Sir Shah. That's how you say your name. Sir Shah. That's my bad. Sir. Interesting. Yeah, Sir Shah. Yeah, what was I? Oh yeah, but no, she moves to New York. But it's not like, but it's like not. Yeah, it's a massive risk. It's a massive risk. She literally she doesn't know anybody in the city whatsoever. She's probably never. She has to like literally cut. She has to leave her family. She doesn't create any conflict for herself. Like, yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I guess I'm okay with that too. Not everybody, not every movie needs to be like this big dramatic thing. Yeah, but like, yeah, but like, I don't know. I thought it took a lot of courage. I thought it took like especially back then. I thought it took a lot of courage for her to be going on this trip, and it was cool to see her do well. It did. And she's like taking she initially has like a hard time and has to take like night classes, and she has a couple of people kind of looking out for her. Risky wasn't the right word, I guess. Man, and what do you mean? Like, I mean, she got married to that guy before they got married. They had like a court wedding. Yeah, they had that court wedding, and you know, like that's just something I would never do. She's even more impulsive than I am. I guess it was a different time back then. I don't think there's just not that much to really elaborate on here other than this though, which is totally fine. It's mostly just her kind of learning. It's really just a movie about her settling into a new life. I love that she is so simple and kind and quiet, and yet I am never bored with her. I think that's a great point. Yeah, I think that's incredibly true. I would normally be bored with such a simple story. I think, yeah, I think that's a great point. She definitely brings a lot of heart and interest into everything. She does a great job of hinting at all of the internal conflicts that she's going through in each scene. Like when the guy says that he loves her, or even when she's dancing in Ireland and her friend goes off to dance with someone else and she's kind of alone. She does great in all of those scenes like that, even though there's not a lot going on, for sure.